All right, welcome everyone, and welcome to Rob Wilson of Timberline Firearms and Training.
Happy to be here.
I can't believe it's Thanksgiving week.
It is.
Ay.
How'd we get here so quick?
I know. I keep telling people, like, you better start your Christmas shopping. You better get going, because, December's just around the corner here. We got a lot to cover. A lot happened over the weekend. We got updates on the Jack Smith case against President Trump. I've got updates on fraud here in Arizona when it comes to one of our elected officials. Ay.
No.
Yeah, it's absolutely shocking, right?
Yeah.
I also have updates on what's going on in Ukraine, and I'm glad Rob is here because obviously you spent so much time, 20 plus years in the Navy, and you know how things have escalated, but how we're not really paying attention to it. It kind of spiked last week in interest, but then kind of faded away. So I wanted to pick your brain on that one.
Yep.
But on the most important one, I did go see Gladiator 2 over the weekend.
I'm glad you helped the box office there just a little bit with your donation.
I don't know. It's like the first one was really good.
Yeah.
That's if you like just seeing like recreations and all the CGI stuff of how ancient Rome could have looked like, and crazy Roman emperor stuff.
Right.
It's got those same elements in there, but it was just lacking for me in the original, creativity. Joaquin Phoenix. I don't know if you ever saw the original Gladiator.
Yeah.
But
sequels are always challenged that way. I think it's seldom that the sequel comes out nearly as good.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to go out and see some, slashing and some Roman gladiator fights and violence all that, and violence and all that, then there you go. I should have saw Bonhoeffer. I haven't gotten a review on that yet. That's from Angel Studios. So anyway, that's something you can maybe do this weekend coming up with Thanksgiving. Okay, let's get to this important news here, which is the treasurer that got busted in southern Arizona. But before I do that, I want to remind you about Eric Boatner, Allstate Agency in Flagstaff. This is my go-to person when it comes to home insurance, when it comes to auto insurance, my business policies. We've really worked on getting all of those over there. And I've heard back from a lot of you that you have saved money with Eric Boatner, Allstate Agency. It's year-end stuff now, so why not have him and Lisa go over it and review your policy and see if you got the right coverage. Just send it to them and have them come back with a number for you too. Most people are like, hey, I'm saving money. So it's worth it.
And it doesn't cost you a cent to have him review it and let you know that he can save you some money.
Yeah. So why not try it? Give a call. It worked very good for us. Eric Boatner, Allstate Agency, 928-774-8722. That's 928-774-8722. Okay. So there's this treasurer. Let me pull this one up, Rob. Let's start with the corruption. This treasurer, and I'm on the State Department's website.
They did a press release, right?
Office of Public Affairs, U.S. Department of Justice, not State Department, Department of Justice. Former Arizona elected official pleads guilty to embezzlement of more than $38 million of county funds. This is Santa Cruz.
One person. Embezzled 38 million tax dollars.
Yeah. Money laundering, tax evasion. Let me just read over some of this. Stealing more than $38 million of Santa Cruz County funds. I don't know what, Santa Cruz is a small county, if memory serves me correct. Southeastern Arizona, I believe. Sorry, my geography is a little askew today.
I get lost with
it's down there. It's a small county, though. 38 million has got to be.
That's not a rounding error. Yeah. That's a significant amount of money.
Yeah, between 2014 and 2024, and also failing to pay income tax of more than $13 million while she was serving as Santa Cruz County Treasurer. Is that because of the $38 million or just the, right? Yeah. You're getting around the income tax on the money she stole?
If you stole it, you're still supposed to report it? Yeah, sure.
Like any good criminal would, right?
Oh, by the way, I get an extra $4 million this year that I stole from my employer.
Yeah. So here's the court documents. Elizabeth Gutfar, Gutfar, 62, served as Santa Cruz County Treasurer from 12 to 14, ripped it off. She used the money to purchase real estate, pay operating expenses for, and renovate her family ranch, and that's special, pay expenses for her cattle business, and purchase at least 20 vehicles. Right?
And no one was suspect whatsoever of any of this.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out here.
A county treasurer probably makes what, 80,000,
80,000, I would guess, right? Yeah. Not more than 100, I wouldn't think.
Buying 20 cars in 10 years?
Yeah, what went wrong with the system that it didn't ping that why are you driving all these fancy cars? Why, where's our money? Why are we having trouble over that? Why didn't it ping at 340,000 or 3.4 million?
Right.
Or 13 million?
And where is the regularly required audit that should be happening in these kinds of situations?
Yeah, I don't know what broke down there.
But the reality is she's an amateur.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to play I Can Top That here today with you, Jeff.
Okay.
Macy's, the great, huge department store, right?
Don't they do the parade thing
Macy's
coming
parade
up?
coming up? Yeah.
This Thursday.
They've had to delay their third quarter earnings report because despite having closed 50 locations this year, they just learned that one of their employees has embezzled, did I lose the number? $158 million.
158 million.
154 million. I'm sorry.
Well,
it's only
158. That would
$154 million over a period of just the last couple of years.
Wow. Maybe you found the source of some of their problems.
Yeah, perhaps those 50 stores didn't really need to close if you had a spare $154 million.
I wonder what their revenue is. I mean, what is this as compared to revenue? Over how long of a period?
Let's see. It doesn't say exactly
Does
how
she
long.
know the Arizona County treasurer that just pled guilty?
It's about 3% of their, because their annual revenue is about 4.36 billion.
Yeah, and that's just the revenue. So what's their net profits? Obviously not very well if they're closing stores and all that, huh?
Sure, and retail's struggling anyway. All the big retailers are in the slow down, close down.
That is insane.
Kind of a mode.
That is, again, how did they not? Well, that's okay. It's jacked up in the private sector, but it's even so much more jacked up when you have elected officials.
And it's tax dollars.
And it's tax dollars. And obviously the girl down in the treasurer got reelected. You pointed that out multiple times, but I guess, nobody knows. How are we supposed to know that? The average person out there, if some politician's ripping us off.
Exactly. And all this year previous to the election, we were told, hey, come on. These elected officials in our counties that run the elections and all that, they're good, upstanding people. They would never do any of these terrible things that people accuse them of.
Imagine if it was, I guess they wouldn't have access to
unless
money.
Maybe you're a treasurer.
Yeah.
Then you're not such a good, upstanding person. You're not necessarily following the law. You're actually stealing $34 million from the taxpayers.
Well, I've been following on X. I don't know how they're pronouncing it. I never listen to anybody else. The Department of Government Efficiency.
Oh yeah.
I've been calling it Doge because I know that Musk has the Dogecoin, or it could call it. I just call it dog. All the money they waste. And there's a blurb on there. Let's see if I still have it here. There was a blurb. Yeah, here it is. I don't know if this was from Vivek Ramaswamy or Musk. Those are the two co-chairing this.
Right. Supposedly
future department. I mean, it's not a department within the federal government yet. And if it becomes a department, it's kind of weird because we don't need more departments. Well,
if we're going to create one new one, that's the one I would vote for.
Okay, with the sole mission of eventually destroying itself. Like they would be the last one.
Right.
But I guess I would assume we're getting rid of all departments, which we're not going to.
I would say that until the savings that they can identify and institute can no longer pay their budget, they stay in place.
Oh, they'll be in. That's 1,000 years.
Probably. And therefore demonstrates the need that we have.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get them to work. And I hope that, a lot of this is going to have to go through Congress. So that's going to be the holdup. Identifying the waste, as I've said before, is the easy part, quite frankly, because there's so much of it.
Yep.
Destroying the waste is the challenge, and getting the politicians to go along with that.
Yeah. And they're already soliciting employees for that department.
Oh, okay.
And I thought, man, that would actually be kind of a fun job.
What can we destroy? The most hated.
To walk into a government, agency someplace, and there are, dozens of people willing to go on record secretly and say, oh, we're wasting money here, 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 and here. You could create lists of stuff in no time.
Yeah.
Of all kinds of things.
Yeah.
But you're right. Creating the list isn't the challenge. It's actually cutting the spending that's going to be.
I would offer like a snitch line, a reward line.
Oh, absolutely.
Actually, I wouldn't mind paying governments that rat out or government workers that rat out other people that say, hey, we just found out I know we're wasting $500,000 or $1 billion or whatever.
Here's 10%.
Okay, I was going to say 1%, but
all right.
because it could be billions of dollars that they find is being wasted.
Let's incentivize it. It's savings.
Yeah. Well, okay, here's one that I wanted to tell you about because they, on Twitter, X, which I've become a bigger fan of since Musk has taken over, and I'm doing a lot more on X. They have the Doge site, and that him and Vivek Ramaswamy post to, and here's a quote: federal government agencies are using, on average, just 12% of the space in their DC headquarters. That's from Thursday that he posted this. The Department of Agriculture, with space for more than 7,400 people, averaged 456 workers each day, 6% occupancy. Why are American taxpayers or taxpayers being spent to maintain empty buildings?
Well, in Washington, D.C., office space is very expensive. I'm sure that, it can't be all that much money, right?
Yeah. I mean, could you imagine the value of re-renting this out to all,
DC office space is some of the most expensive in the country.
Exactly. Real estate's some of the most expensive there.
Yeah.
When I was back there with Owen in June, we went to, I interviewed Eli Crane, and we took a tour of Congress and all that, right? And I was trying to find one of those cafeterias that they have in the middle of all these big buildings. Right. And I'm certain that one read that there was a place where you can get some food, sandwiches and stuff. And I'm pretty sure it was the Department of Agriculture that they're mentioning. And as I walked up, it's a huge building. I'll have to look back on my photos, but I'm almost 99% sure that it was Department of Agriculture. There was 5 security guards standing up front there. And, I kind of walked in. They just looked at me because I just looked like I wasn't belonging in the Department of Agriculture or whatever. Right? It's coming in with shorts probably, which is how I went to Eli Crane's office.
If you hung a badge around your neck on a lanyard, they wouldn't have even glanced twice.
Yeah, that's probably
all
true.
It takes.
And they said, well, no, that's not open in here anymore. But I wonder if it's that building because it was huge and there was no activity, but all these security guards just standing there. And that's all those buildings in DC.
Contract security guards. So,
So big dollars there. There's some more ways for you. When I was on the Flagstaff City Council, one time we went back, I think it was me and former Mayor Jerry Neighbors, and we went back to D.C., and I think we went to HUD, Housing and Urban Development.
Right.
I used to watch the X-Files, and they always used to talk about like FEMA, or maybe it was FEMA. It was one of those buildings. Okay. Because we were dealing with something with the railroad track and trying to, land type
Probably
thing.
FEMA then, yeah.
Yeah, and it was 2 layers of security to get in. And I was like, what are all these people doing? And we might have went to HUD too. It might have been HUD and FEMA. Yeah. And we're walking through on one of the levels somewhere. And even back then, this was probably 2014, 15, empty cubicles everywhere. It's like cubicle heaven, I call it. And that was before COVID. This is insanity.
Yeah.
And you've been back there a lot.
What was the new department that President Obama created? The consumer credit and something. And they took over a building in downtown D.C. that they were going to renovate to make into their new headquarters. And it was going to be like $180 million to do the renovations on this building for a brand new department that hadn't existed ever before. And this was somehow going to save the government money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right up front, we're spending $180 million just to renovate a building
that
for a
is
department
insane.
We didn't even need last year.
That is insane.
Yeah.
So, it's just, when they say there's 6% occupancy in D.C., I believe it. Yep. At times, all of those offices and all those buildings, and what do you do with all that real estate? It'll get gobbled up. Or, if D.C. becomes partly ghost town in the future and they have to create more parks, we always need more space for monuments.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they had trouble finding a space for the World War II memorial that was there. Soon enough, I would think we would have the war on terror, Afghanistan, or the Iraq, you name it. So just bulldoze them. Put a nice monument there so that we can go visit.
Well, and the bigger question too is why are all of these huge departments based in Washington, D.C., one of the most expensive real estate markets in all of the country? Why don't we move them out of D.C.? There's no reason they all have to be there.
Yeah, I agree 100%. All right, your thoughts? Anything you would like to cut? Send me an email or comment in the podcast.
Yeah, let's start our own little hotline here.
Oh, actually,
have you got a cut that you'd like to see made? Let's send that in.
I've been proposing since the Department of Government Efficiency came out nationally that we do this for every state. And I know that some in the Freedom Caucus at the state legislature are kind of along the same lines. And one of those departments here in Arizona that I'll get to here in just a second is the tourism department, which I talked about the end of last week. We should doge that thing. Let me tell you about that in just a second, but let me remind you about another one of our great sponsors, neighbor of Rob out there at Timberline Firearms and Training. I stopped by American Trailer Company.
Oh, great place.
When was that? Maybe Friday or Saturday. Can't remember. Good guys there. Huge yard full of trailers, flatbed.
Huge inventory.
Yeah, flatbed, utility.
In stock,
yeah. You don't have to go down to Phoenix or deal with that. In fact, if you're in the Prescott area, if you're in Sedona, you're in the Verde Valley, and you'd like to have a trailer delivered, and I know a couple of you did that last year because I was talking to the great folks at American Trailer Company. You just mentioned the Jeff Orvich show, and delivery is included up to a 150-mile radius, and that'll get you into Prescott. Or you drive up and you go there, take 89, head out about 5 minutes.
Yep.
If you see Timberline, you're too far, but stop by Timberline, do some indoor shooting, and with the great range there, and then go to the trailer company, American Trailer Company. You mentioned Jeff Orvich show, you get 5% off. Wow. And I know a couple of you did that last month too, and I appreciate that. Mention the Jeff Orvich show, 5% off. That's significant on some of the bigger like dump trailers.
I was going to say that's a serious savings. That counts.
That's good stuff. So AmericanTrailerAZ.com, AmericanTrailerAZ.com. Appreciate you supporting our great sponsors. Okay, so on Friday, let me pull this thing up here. I showed you this logo, this ridiculous thing. Where did it go? Here we are, the Arizona logo. Let's put it on the screen for us here, Rob.
This is the new state of Arizona's official logo?
Yeah, and this girl resigned. So the Lisa Urias, Urias, was supposedly the director that Hobbs put in there for the Office of Tourism, which is ridiculous in itself. We don't need an Office of Tourism in the state. We are a known factor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Worldwide. We're one of the 7 wonders.
If I see an advertisement for the Grand Canyon, I'm like, really? Everybody knows that they can come to Arizona. We've got all this great stuff. They spent $700,000 on that logo, Rob. They spent 57 in-person digital listening sessions and all this crap.
Yeah. Right.
And then here's the kicker. The allegations are that some of the design work went to a company called Urias Marketing Agency, which sounds awfully familiar because the director of the tourism board is Lisa Urias.
Oh, could that person that owns that marketing company be related to her?
I don't know. I think it might be the same person, but doesn't have any. It's just namesake, and she doesn't have any role in its day-to-day operations, according to. But she resigned.
Yeah, so it's actually owned by her brother. So she was paying her brother all of this money to come up with a new logo for the state of Arizona.
Yeah.
That, for those of you that haven't seen it yet, it's block letters of the spelling of Arizona.
Well, yeah. It says Arizona, so it's about $100,000 per letter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Close.
And then there's a tractor tire
7
for the O. It looks like behind a mountain.
I didn't count the O as a letter because I was confused.
Yeah.
So there's 7 letters, so it's $100,000 per letter.
Yeah.
But the donut, you say it's a tractor tire.
That's what it looks like to me. When I first looked at that, I see tractor tire.
Yeah, and a cactus and a peaks, and it's in turquoise. Now, it's funny because on X and on other social media sites, people have been challenged with create a good Arizona logo. Mm-hmm. And multiple people in a couple hours have come up with a better logo than this.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't, do people still do business cards? Is that still like?
Oh, some, yeah.
Some people. Okay. You know how you used to have those sites that you get 1,000 business
one for my company.
And they like design the logo?
Yeah.
We should just do that next time. And we get 1,000 free business cards.
Yeah.
Or 1,000 business cards and a free logo design.
Well, I think mine cost me $500, but I had 3 different artists work on multiple different designs and I could make multiple changes to it. Yeah. And in less than a week, I had a really amazing logo for $500.
This should be bid out, this stuff, because look, I'm all for insourcing in your state and in your communities, but not at the expense of your state and your communities. If there's a cubicle heaven somewhere that does logo design, and it's going to cost you $1,000 for something that would cost you $700 here, then you go out, you deal with it.
But then you're going to have to say no to your brother.
That's true. That's
her brother's company is the one that got all that money.
I know that a couple people in the Arizona legislature said they're going to look into this, and I think they definitely should.
A little late, perhaps, but yeah.
A little late, yeah, but it's not, they don't oversee this, the legislature, who oversees this? Would it be like the auditor general in the state, or?
I suspect that the department falls under the governor. I would think.
Yeah, ultimately, it's the governor. Yeah. Ultimately, it's Governor Katie Hobbs that appointed this person to the Office of Tourism. Then we start our own Doge group here in Arizona, and we eliminate stuff like this.
Yeah.
These do we need a director of tourism in this state? I don't know. Some people might question that. I mean, but we're not North Dakota.
No.
It's not like we have to really beg for people to come travel and tour our state.
Well, and how big is this department? There's the city of Flagstaff now, their tourism and Convention and Visitors Bureau and tourism department, I believe, has 28 employees now.
28?
Yeah. Now, some of those are running the gift shop and, those kinds of things. So there's a variety of different jobs, but
okay, I'll get back to it. Go on.
These are all city employees with full city benefits, and our tax dollars are what's paying that.
Why do we have a city gift shop? No, seriously, how many trinket shops are in Flagstaff?
And why is the city competing with them?
Yeah, exactly. Why do we have anything that's run by the city? What is it, like a visitor center or something?
Yeah, it's an Amtrak station. It's the south end, I guess. Or
same with, I'd like to see those numbers. Yeah, but is it really even necessary? If it didn't exist, would people not come to Flagstaff? It was like, oh, I went there and it's just the visitor center was the best thing ever. You know what I mean? It's just, I'm not trying to be mean to them. It's just, let's cut out the crap.
Well, and let's the point is they're trying to attract tourists to Flagstaff. Once they're already here.
They're already here. They're
here.
Yeah, they're downtown.
Let them spend their money with
our
struggling small businesses that need the help. Don't, as a city, give yourself free rent in the primo spot and compete with local small businesses downtown.
Novel idea here, Rob. I mean, I know businesses are struggling still under this wonderful Biden economy. Oh, yeah. I know that restaurants are having a heck of a time in the Flagstaff area because of the high cost of everything.
Yep.
Why don't you cut some of these departments and, lower the overall costs and fees, to operate?
What a concept. What a concept.
Imagine that.
Let some people keep their own money, quit the taxing.
Yeah. Hey, what do we know? We've just run businesses, and like many of you out there are struggle and don't have access to like this Santa Cruz treasurer, like the slush fund and the taxpayers' money.
$4 million a year.
Or,
average.
I'm sure somebody listening right now is a graphic designer or in a print profession or whatever. There's got to be somebody out there. I used to do this stuff, Rob, actually, graphic design and printing and all that. I'm sure you would love to get not a $700,000 contract to design a logo like this, but even a $7,000 one. There's some
would be a huge.
There's some newbies that'd be like $700 would be great. I'll come up, son.
Oh yeah,
I'll come up. Why don't we have a competition of all the graphic designers in the state submit the freaking logo for Arizona? Right? And it doesn't even have to be graphic designers. Just open it up. Some 10-year-old kid could come up with it and say, and we're going to give you a $25,000, if yours is chosen, $25,000 scholarship or whatever.
Or why don't we go to our state-run universities, to their graphic design departments and have a competition amongst them?
Which the 3 universities are heavily subsidized too.
Exactly.
So why don't we do that?
Yeah.
We have some solutions.
We're already paying for that.
If anyone's listening, Rob and I are going to start the Arizona Doge.
There we go.
Like we have time for that, but
Send in your cost-cutting recommendations now.
Talk with Jeff at iCloud.com. All right, Diamond Auto Glass. This is the time of year. As soon as we get some more snow here, it's going to happen at some point. And we already got some early ones. You get the rock chips in your windshield. Didn't you get one? Did you repair it?
Yeah, that was last year. Yeah,
that was last year. Okay,
had it repaired over there. Worked really well.
Good.
Quick,
they
fast,
do.
easy.
They have this little tool that melts something in there and makes it clear again. That's my technical knowledge of how they fix that. And it takes like 10 minutes.
It does.
Yeah. So don't let the rock chips spread. Go to Diamond Auto Glass right there on 4th Street in Flagstaff. Also, if you need a new windshield and window tinting, not only for your vehicle, but for your house, Diamond Auto Glass will help you out. Call them up at 928-779-4140. That's Diamond Auto Glass at 928-779-4140. Or go to thedifferenceisclear.com. Back in a minute. You have no say, though, even though this portion is brought to you by Timberline Firearms and Training.
I don't get any extra privileges here or anything?
Yeah, I mean,
no, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, although you did come up with a lot of today's show ideas, so I guess we can just, do your idea for this.
Well, that's going to cost you $700,000.
$700,000. Seriously, come up with a logo. I'd love to see it. My kids could do better than what they did there. Okay, let's switch to Ukraine and Biden and what's been going on. I guess you were kind of talking to me about, what his actions have been since the election loss.
Yeah.
And it's significant. So kind of hit on that a bit.
Yeah. Well, let's start with, where's Vice President Harris? She's been on vacation for a week. And one of the things that I think the election showed us is that she'd been lying to us all this year about President Biden's ability to do his job. And so then after she loses the election, and we all know for a fact that he really isn't, what does she do? She takes off for Hawaii and goes into isolation for a week and leaves President Biden alone in charge of our country while he's making these decisions, like he's rescinded some of his border restrictions and has, as a result of that, has now encouraged large groups of people that are trying to get across the border now before President Trump comes into office.
Well, and can I add this? And I know you're going to get to Ukraine, but she knows that there's an issue going on with Ukraine, like a chance of nuclear war.
Potentially.
And it's like, I guess Hawaii would get hit, though. That's a prime target as the Pacific Fleet, the base for the, you're in the Navy. That's the...
Pearl Harbor was and still is a prime target should we ever end up in war. And Pearl Harbor is one of the places that North Korea can actually hit from North Korea.
Wow. Okay. So I either feel a little better knowing that all the information she has, that she feels safe going to Pearl or to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Or I just assume that she's kind of a ding dong, which is what I expected all the way anyway.
She's confirming to us that her behavior now is proving what we suspected.
Yeah, exactly.
So President Biden has made some decisions recently. He's allowed now the use of U.S. long-range or medium-range missiles to be used to attack inside the Russian territory.
Last week, and they launched several.
And they are launching the UK version of cruise missiles across the border now also. So that's a pretty significant escalation. It's something that, President Biden said from the beginning he wouldn't do, just like he said he wouldn't release F-16s and wouldn't do. And then he's also authorized the use of anti-personnel mines, so landmines. Landmines, really not a good idea, almost anywhere ever. And they've created all kinds of problems across, huge parts of other nations that have been in long-term wars before.
Still cleaning them up. Right?
Yeah, because the challenge is, how do you clean them up?
Yeah, how do you find them? And who's knowledgeable to clean it up?
Yeah, and how much do you have to pay somebody to go clean up landmines? Now, these apparently have batteries that only have a short period of life in them, so it can be set to like days or weeks before the battery dies, and then they become inert.
So they say. But imagine if you're digging with a backhoe, 20 years later.
It's still a package full of explosives. Now, it doesn't mean stepping on it will make it go off, but it still means it's a package full of explosives.
I remember a year or two ago, they found an unexploded bomb or something. It happens in Europe from time to time.
Oh, yeah.
Like one from World War II.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and they have to bring in a whole crew because there's still the stuff inside. Is it going to blow up? Maybe, maybe not. You want to take that chance?
Yeah. So explosives become more and more unstable over time. The nitroglycerin tends to leach out of the other materials, and then they become very, very percussion sensitive. So, yeah.
So, we're sending that over there. Meanwhile, Putin's across the way looking at this and saying the line's being crossed.
Yep.
And then he launches last week ICBMs.
Well,
over to
IRBMs, intermediate range ballistic missiles.
Okay, correct me on that, because you know this stuff.
The first news reports came out and said it was ICBMs, so intercontinental.
Okay.
So those are missiles with ranges well over 1,000 miles, kinds of things.
Okay.
Intermediate range are anywhere from 100 out to 1,000 kind of a range.
Okay, still not good. That hits a lot of Europe.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Deep into Europe.
Yeah. And puts every U.S. base anywhere in the European theater. In the Asian theater and in the Middle East at risk.
Yeah.
So that's the first time those missiles have been used by Russia, a significant escalation on his part. And the other thing that didn't get quite as much visibility was he got the doctrine for the use of nuclear weapons by Russia modified a week ago. And the justification for the use of it now can include other countries authorizing people to use their stuff or assisting them in using it. There's some theories that it takes U.S. participation to launch the ATACMS into Russia. And if they can prove that, it would meet their current doctrine of being able to use nuclear weapons as a response.
Translated, I mean, we're not just dropping these off in a crate and saying, like, it shows up by FedEx.
No.
And there's some Ukrainian dude out there that they just recruited from, the hinterland. And they say, hey, let's get the crew here and turn the key.
These are state-of-the-art kinds of systems that require, highly technically trained people to be able to operate and target and that kind of stuff. And the suggestion is there aren't Ukrainians yet, or maybe ever, that are going to be capable of doing that. And so the U.S. is providing a lot of assistance.
An advisor. The old term from the Vietnam era.
Yeah. And
advisors.
Oftentimes what we do is we'll use people that just retired from the military running ATACMS systems, and now they're civilians working for some civilian corporation, but they get hired to go over to Ukraine and program these missiles.
Yeah, okay, yeah. We don't know exactly what's going on, but I would, judging by history and experience, you wouldn't have somebody who's enlisted in the U.S. military,
current active duty military.
Thank you.
Yeah, you wouldn't want.
You're going to want some plausible deniability. Yeah, this company's set up wherever, and
and the Ukraine government contracted with them, and we don't know anything about it.
Don't know anything about it, but they know. Putin knows. And,
absolutely.
Do you think will Russia move nukes into occupied Ukraine? Do you think that's a line?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
That would be
the line for the other side.
Moving them wouldn't be. Using one absolutely is. And tactical nukes are something completely different than what we think of typically when we think of nuclear weapons.
Please explain that.
Tactical nuclear weapons are battlefield style nuclear weapons, and they're designed to take out like a military base or a airport or smaller areas. Now, they range in power from just, like a single kiloton up into the 10 or 15 kiloton.
What does that
range.
mean? We got to do the Hiroshima standard.
Yeah. So a 15 kiloton is basically what we dropped both times in Japan.
Okay.
And we saw what those do.
Okay. It destroys a city.
Yeah.
1 kiloton is a smaller area, but I imagine there's still the outlying areas like radiation. And
the radiation effect is a little bit less than they used to be. They're a little bit cleaner now because they're more efficient. They use.
We went green.
Right?
Yeah. It's clean nuclear
green nuclear weapons.
Okay. You see that as a possibility?
Well, if things really start going bad, I mean, look how bad things have already gone for Putin. A war that was supposed to take a week or two is now past 2 years.
Yeah.
He's had to turn to Iran and North Korea for support to be able to continue this war. He's had body bag after body bag come home to really unhappy Russian citizens. And he hasn't really made any progress at all in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Anybody that's that far with their back against a wall, that has been that unsuccessful for that long, becomes more and more unpredictable about what they'll do.
But he knows, though. Well, is it a double-edged sword here? I mean, obviously Trump is 6 or less weeks away from taking office. Does he look at that as, well, we're going to go to the peace table and this is going to finally be resolved? Or does he look at it as, I got 6 weeks? Because I don't think Trump puts up with this. No. I think Trump puts everyone together and clonks heads.
Yep. He's claimed he's going to end this war day one. And I think what's going on right now is both sides are fighting as hard as they can to put themselves in as strong a position as possible for January 21st.
Yeah. Okay. Nukes, though, even a tactical nuke, like you said, 1 kiloton, can't be used because then you retaliate with the next one. Right. I mean, and again, this is
you send 1 kiloton at us, we're going to send 2 back.
Yeah.
You send 4 back against us, we send.
Yeah. And how many hours until or minutes until that escalates into total madness and destruction. So neither side can use them.
Right.
I hope. I hope
that's what we certainly hope. And I think Putin is smart enough to know that. But that's the scary part about countries like Iran and North Korea having nuclear weapons is the leadership there, I think, is a little bit less predictable, a little bit less concerned about the consequences of what happens if they do that.
Yeah.
Putin, I think, gets it. He's a smart enough guy to know that.
It's crazy.
But the thing that frustrates me the most is while the administration is claiming that they're fully supporting a peaceful transition of power, they're setting President Trump up in a terrible position at the end of this escalation. To pick this time when the U.S. is actually kind of more vulnerable than it's ever been because we're in the middle of a transition of power. because we know we have a really weak president who isn't capable of doing things because we have a vice president on vacation.
Congress in flux.
Right.
The whole thing is in. And a lot of times if you have like a strong president that has all his mental or her mental, well, his, because there's never been a her in there, mental faculties.
Right.
You at least know that at least there's a steady hand there. And this person doesn't want to go out with the world nuked, but Biden's just, so you don't know what's going to happen. And
I hate to even say the guy's name, but Michael Moore, the filmmaker.
Yeah.
Just annoys the crap out of me.
Yeah,
but today he came out with an open letter to President Biden saying, dude,
what are you doing?
Yeah. This is what you want for your legacy?
Yeah.
When Michael Moore is condemning what you're doing as a Democratic president, you have a real problem.
But nobody can do anything. I mean, it'd be really hard in this time frame.
Yeah.
Congress is really not going to be able to do anything. There's not enough time
Congress
left.
isn't doing anything.
The cabinet would have to move.
Yeah.
The cabinet's not going to move because Kamala Harris was so weak.
Yep.
And she's lost so bad that's why she's over in Hawaii. So it's just status quo stagnant until Trump takes. When is it? January 20th?
Yep.
That seems like a long way off still.
Which is one of the big questions I have too. So, our founders did an awful lot of really smart things. And I believe that this, November to January thing has existed since the nation was founded. It might have made sense back then because communications took a long, long time. And it might have taken until January for everybody to know who won the election.
Who actually won this thing?
That's not the case now. And I think it's time to reevaluate. Why do we have this long period of flux like this?
Yeah.
Shouldn't we be able to do this in 30 days? Shouldn't we limit the amount of time the United States is at risk like this in this state of flux?
Probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Probably a good idea. I mean, every challenge and every issue, everybody wants to be done by Christmas for sure.
Yeah.
So it's like, why aren't we doing this like January 1st won't work with the 3rd or.
Yeah. The city of Flag, the city council gets sworn in December.
Yeah. Elections November. They're doing it by December. Okay. Do it before the break. We're going to take a break.
Yeah.
We inaugurate you and we're going to come back, fresh start and new Congress and we're done. We don't lag very long.
Well, yeah.
Get the movers there, man. Move them out.
Yeah. I would like the somewhere between the 15th and the 20th of December would be a great time in my opinion, because that way the new administration could move in. Everybody in DC is on vacation that next 2 weeks. So it gives them the ability to kind of get their footing, get ready to really hit the ground running on January 2nd. And we're not waiting until the 20th
for things to happen. The carpets and you're ready for, to move in after Christmas or something like that. I have, I should have mentioned this earlier though, but I do have Congressman-elect Abe Hamaday this week.
Oh, great. Good guy.
Let me suggest that to him.
Yeah.
I have a few suggestions. Every member of Congress who comes on the show, I'll mention that maybe.
Here's a bill suggestion for you.
And then also fix the gas can, But I asked someone the other day, it's like, have you ever poured gas? No. So it's like they don't know. And I was like, I'll come to D.C. and put on a spectacle here for you, a demo. Yeah. I will testify before Congress to fix the gas can.
I would suggest, Jeff, that if you're going to do that, don't walk up the steps of the Capitol with 2 gas cans in your hand, okay?
What's that? Why is that leaking so much? I don't know. Ask these idiots inside who did it.
And a lighter in your mouth or something.
Okay. Some good, would you be available for this trip? Maybe you would be a good second set of brain for me. Talk with Jeff at iCloud.com. Love to hear from you. All right. I know it's gotten way expensive to eat out, and we see that, especially if you're in the Flagstaff area. That's why Sportsman's Bar and Grill came to me and said, hey, we got a great deal for all your listeners, 20% off the bill. This is phenomenal. 20% off the bill if you mention the Jeff Orbit Show when you go to Sportsman's Bar and Grill. They've already got great daily specials. They've got the best happy hour in Flagstaff. They've got the $5 menu. They've got awesome drink specials. Go to Sportsman's Bar and Grill. Have a good time there. Watch some games. What kind of games we got going on right now? We got everything going on.
Yeah,
we got
football, Monday Night Football. Is that where we're at today? Is it Monday? It's Monday. I'm going on date night tonight to Sportsman's.
Are you?
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah,
good.
We'll be there.
Mention the Jeff Orbit Show. Get 20% off Sportsman's Bar and Grill. Downtown area, north of downtown, really by the hospital there in the Basha Shopping Center. Sportsman's Bar and Grill. More with Rob Wilson. Hang tight. I forgot my good friends at the Blind Brothers earlier. I'm supposed to do that. We got so
involved in cutting government.
Cutting government, yeah. You want to cut your blind costs, call the Blind Brothers if you want to get a great Christmas idea here. Great present is new blinds.
What a surprise that would be.
It would be, yeah. You'd have to You have to coordinate that one, but just even like a gift card or a note saying, hey, these blinds from 1982.
It's time to go.
They're gone. Surprise. They've got great monthly specials at theblindbrothers.com as well. I'm a customer of theirs. They did a great job on our blinds here in Flagstaff. Give them a call, 928-634-2423. That's the Blind Brothers at 928-634-2423. Or like I said, go to theblindbrothers.com. We're short on time here in the second hour. I've got some more suggestions on things we can cut. There's a list of Trump's cabinet picks. Maybe we can touch on that a little bit.
Yeah.
There's this issue in Flagstaff and just an issue in general of trust land. We're talking tribal trust land. When Navajo Nation, for example, purchased property just outside of Flagstaff. I touched on it a bit last week, but you have a lot more insight on this.
I do.
You can go to I guess you go to Congress or you go to some department there in DC.
You used to.
Oh, now you just get it done easy. Okay, so Rob has stuff on
updates on that. Yeah,
updates on that as well. I got one here that's right up Rob's alley, and I don't know if he's had time to really look at this, but Representative Wynn out of Prescott and Representative Bliss out of Prescott, they pushed Sedona to get rid of their this gun law they had. Did you see this one?
Yeah.
They were saying you couldn't have the guns, firearms on
public property,
which would include like trails and open spaces and things. And Representatives Wynn and Bliss were like, wait a second, I think you're in violation here of state law.
Yeah.
So we'll touch on that a little bit. And this is how your representatives can be really impactful.
Yeah.
If they're paying attention like this and they can lean on.
Because the city can't ignore them.
No, because this
the city operates under the authority of the state.
Yeah, and it turns into legal matters really quick. So I got an update on that as well, and a lot more. So stick around, and if you got any comments, always love hearing from you. Talk with Jeff at iCloud.com. And I also have been pretty active on X, formerly known as Twitter. So please go follow me there as well. Back in a few minutes. More to come. Rob Wilson's here from Timberline Firearms and Training for the second hour of the program. And you guys close on Thanksgiving, I would hope.
We are.
Okay.
We close at 3 o'clock the day before.
Yeah.
Closed all day Thanksgiving. Let our wonderful employees enjoy time with their family. But on 10 o'clock on Friday morning, we're
back
open
at it.
Ready ready for you.
I close on Wednesday, just to let you folks know. We will have a show on tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday, and I will not reopen again until Monday. There'll be shows.
Yeah,
but not me doing a fresh one for you. So
yeah, if you've got folks in from out of town, you need to get rid of them for a little while.
Take them on out to the
Send them out to the range.
That's a good one, especially if they're from a blue state.
Exactly.
You have the full auto out there.
We do. We have machine guns. You can.
Yeah, and you're gonna have a bunch of German-speaking people out there, right? There's usually a lot of
foreign tourists,
like from, I don't know. You said Scandinavia is a big one, huh?
Netherlands. We get more Dutch than we do. What is
that?
I don't know, because it's a relatively small country. But
have you asked? Have you asked what's up with you folks? When
they all just kind of laugh and go and do some more shooting
and just go, because it's like what 20? Is it 20 rounds on the? You got the 9mm.
There's an MP5, 25 round magazines,
and then there's another one that's like
the M4.
M4, okay.
Yep.
So I mean that takes a few seconds if you're not doing burst, right? I mean we did at Camp Savage and it was really cool. That video got a lot of hits. We got that on YouTube. That was fun.
Yeah,
it was fun. Go do that. I mean, have fun.
Right?
Just enjoy it.
Try something new.
Yeah, out there at Timberline. Okay. It's interesting because let's get to this one that's going on with potential casino and tribal lands.
Mm-hmm.
This is Navajo Nation.
Yep.
I think it's just Navajo Nation, right? Or is it?
It is.
Okay. So touch on that here in just a second. But before I do that, I want to remind you, and she's going to be on this week. So looking forward to Kelly Broaddus with Broaddus Properties Group, brokered by EXP.
Great realtor.
The go-to person for me and a lot of people out there.
Yep.
In the Flagstaff area, if you're thinking about selling a home, if you're thinking about buying a home, Kelly Broaddus can help you out. She's got a great team surrounding her. Here's the deal. I mean, there's a lot of real estate agents out there.
Yep.
And especially when the market's hot, like it's still hot, but it's taking a little longer to sell. They do it on the side. This is
the part-time, just kind of, I'm retired, so I'm looking for something to do.
And put it on MLS. And Kelly puts everything into this. I'm not exaggerating here.
Yep.
And she's got a full team around her to help her out every step of the way. We're talking full marketing to make sure that you get top dollar. So and I know this stuff. I don't know a lot. I know a little bit about, a lot, but something I know a lot about is real estate.
Yeah.
That's kind of my specialty. And this is who I'd call. I wouldn't do it myself. So call her up, 888-446-5602. That's Kelly Broaddus at 888-446-5602. Or go online. You can get an instant valuation on your home at northernarizonafinehomes.com. That's northernarizonafinehomes.com. Okay, so this is an interesting one because... Why don't you give me the background on this? You know more than me on this one. Because like I already said, I know a little bit.
Yeah. So there's a restaurant that was operating in Flagstaff for many, many years, has a very storied reputation as a great restaurant. It's called Horseman's Lodge. It's out on 89, about 3 or 4 minutes past the mall. Very rustic and a lot of natural horse, saddles and chaps and things like that on display.
Nice place.
Just a lot of character. Really kind of defined a lot of what Flagstaff used to be.
Yeah. You and I have eaten there together.
Yeah.
I had my reherrsal dinner there.
Oh, that's,
wow. I told you that? Yeah. So history.
So Horseman's Lodge, like a lot of restaurants, went through some tough times and they were struggling. So they ended up selling. And the land that Horseman's Lodge is on is actually zoned residential, and it was operating under a grandfathered in restaurant authorization, so they could operate as the restaurant, but it's actually residential zoned land, as are the parcels just to the north and south of them.
Okay.
Back in 2019, the Navajo Nation purchased all 3 of those parcels, so it's a total of about 14 acres. They paid almost $6 million for those 14 acres. Which made everybody pretty suspect. It's like, why would the Navajo Nation want to buy land not contiguous to the nation? Why would they spend that much money on land that probably isn't worth that much? And so a lot of questions were getting raised, and there were a couple of meetings held, and the nation sent some of their representatives, and they said, hey, don't worry. We're not going to do anything. We're going to be communicative. We're going to, this is going to be, we're all going to work together and don't worry about this.
Were you watching this process? I mean, you were kind of staying in tune when this was happening.
Yeah, because I don't live too far from there. And,
drive by it every day.
Yeah.
For sure.
So back in January and since then, since 2019, we haven't seen much change. They'd operated a food truck there every 6 months so they could maintain that zoning for the restaurant to operate by having a food truck on the parking lot for a part of a day. They could say, yep,
sense.
We were open for business.
Yeah, so makes sense. I did the same thing, honestly.
And otherwise, nothing has changed, and nobody has heard anything. It's just been silence. And so all of the uproar that was originally concerned has kind of gone away. Back in January of this year, the Biden administration changed the requirements for how land gets converted from fee trust or fee simple land into trust land.
Okay.
And what they did is they eliminated any required public comment periods and eliminated the requirement for the U.S. House of Representatives. There used to be a portion of the House that had to sign off on it, one of the committees or something that would have to sign off on that.
To put something into trust land. Okay.
So they eliminated those 2 requirements and put the final authority on the Director of Bureau of Indian Affairs.
Is this an elected position?
No, it's an appointed position.
So. Okay.
Yes.
Appointed by
the President of the United States.
So that would be Biden.
President Biden.
And he's on his way out.
Yes. And
in case you weren't paying attention the past couple of weeks.
Yeah. The new law allowed counties and states to submit a comment, not public comment, but a comment from them into this process, and required them to be notified, but didn't require them to reply back. So
we'll take your comment, but we don't want to really talk to you.
Yeah.
Did they acknowledge they received the comment at least?
We don't know that any have been submitted, and that's one of the big questions: is did Coconino County provide any feedback to this process or not? And if they did, exactly what was that feedback? Because I co-chaired the area plan committee that rewrote the area plan for that area. And one of the things we specifically worked very hard to try to address is transferring land out of the control of the county, because then all of the county requirements go away.
Okay.
So
I should say at this point, Robin, point out that you are a zoning commissioner. You're on the Coconino County Planning and Zoning Commission.
I am.
You're not here speaking for them or anything like that.
Absolutely
just to be
not.
clear. But I just wanted people to know that
full transparency.
Yeah, that you just so they know your depth of kind of like.
I might have a little bit better understanding than the average person, because I'm kind of involved in a lot of this.
Yes.
So last Thursday, to everyone's surprise, There's a press release from the Navajo Nation saying, we just converted this to Navajo Trust land, and we are going to build a gaming facility. It's going to employ over 100 people.
Okay.
Now,
we knew this.
Everybody
knew
this was
coming.
That's the kind of the worst case scenario that everybody feared. And it came with absolutely no warning whatsoever. Nobody had heard a thing. It was just done.
Well, because it's not like your city that does a zoning change or something, and they put the big white sign out there with a notice in big letters.
Public
and 89
notice,
is a heavily traveled road.
Yeah.
You know, so if there was something out there saying, hey, by the way, we're talking to the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and there's a chance that this could become trust land. What is, define that for us that don't use fancy terms.
So trust land now is the same thing as the reservation.
Okay.
It is for all practical purposes, it is now a piece of reservation land, even though it doesn't, physically connect to it.
It doesn't need to be.
It does not.
I know, like when the city annexes land, like they usually do it in it's like next to it.
Yeah.
Right. I could be mistaken.
Typically, that's a normal requirement. There is a maximum distance away from the reservation that it can be.
Okay.
And I think it's 20 miles, and this happens to be about 19 and a half.
Oh, wow. It's just on the cusp. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Did they change that? Like,
no.
Is this like when they, do you remember when Tucson became a town? And they changed the law because Tucson's very small, a couple hundred people, right? And they actually changed it to say something like, because there was a minimum population threshold and they were way under it.
Yeah.
Unless you're within an X amount of miles from a national park.
Yeah.
And they actually, the state changed the law.
So that they could then
and it was like, oh, you mean the Grand Canyon? That's the only distance?
Yeah.
Okay. You got to love it, man.
That part didn't happen here, but last Thursday, it officially became Navajo Nation Trust land. So part of the reservation.
Interesting.
It means they can do anything they want there. So no county's ordinances or anything else have any impact. The dark skies ordinances have no impact.
Oh, so we could have like, you drive out to Twin Arrows and it's like the big screen.
Yeah.
With all that. Okay.
That could definitely happen.
Well, Rob, that's already being violated anyway, because me as a lowly business owner, I have to follow the sign requirements, right?
Oh, sure.
But like a government agency like Coconino, isn't it the community college on 4th Street that has the TV screen out there?
Yeah.
If I tried to put up a TV screen, never. But I guarantee you the people that put up the TV screen would be complaining if I put up a TV screen.
Oh, sure.
But anyway.
Yeah.
I digress.
So it appears now that the plan is to build a casino there. And, there isn't any limit on how tall it could be. It could be 10 stories tall. They could build a 5-story underground parking garage.
Wow.
Donny Park Water has said, we don't have enough water to supply to a commercial facility on the scale that you're talking about.
Do they have to supply it?
No, because it's a private corporation.
Okay.
But guess what the tribe doesn't have to do? They don't have to go to ADEQ to get a permit to drill a well. They can drill their own well and pump our aquifer dry.
Yeah, they could go deep. Well, I mean, what are those, a couple thousand feet out there? But there's water under there. Yeah, but you're...
Yeah, but you'd be competing with Donny Park Water that feeds all the residents out there.
So are you thinking like Bellagio?
The fountains and all that?
I hope that they come out pretty quick and give some indication. And
that would be a really good thing to do.
Yeah, cut this, because here's the thing is you're
everybody's fearing the worst case scenario right
because
now.
We don't know. So you know what, we'll reach out. I don't know who to reach out to, but you might have some insight to help us out.
The President of Navajo Nation.
Yeah, and let's get some insight. What are you planning on doing here? Because there's a lot of neighbors and those. Look, people don't want. Remember in Flagstaff, you had the hospital come. What is that? Northern Arizona Healthcare.
Yep.
They came and bought a bunch of land outside by the Flagstaff Airport.
Yep.
And they were going to build what they called a 7-story or something, or 3-story, and it wound up being like
I think it was 6 or 7.
Yeah, it was, but it was hospital stories.
Yeah,
and it was like 150 feet. I can't remember. I'm a little blurry, but it was very tall, taller than anything else in Flagstaff, and it's kind of up on a rise there. And they had to get a zoning request changed, and the council did it, I think. And then the voters were like, the citizens of Flagstaff were like, "This, we don't want this monster."
Yeah,
and it got destroyed.
Yeah,
in the referendum, you had no option like that when it comes to this, because it's trust land. It's part of the Navajo Nation, sovereign
nation. Yeah,
yeah,
it's part of a sovereign nation.
So you don't have any say or option. But I hope they recognize the mood in Flagstaff and are like, well, where are your clients coming from? They're mostly going to be Flagstaff.
Yeah.
Because you've already got Twin Arrows, and that's catching people on 40 and all that.
Yep.
So blended.
And
make it blend in a little bit here.
Imagine the folks that bought the homes that border on that zoned residential property
right next door.
That is now their backyard is going to be a casino. They bought, rural land out in the county that's, 2-3 acre parcels out there, but it borders now on what's going to be a casino, and they have absolutely no say whatsoever.
Let me make a note for Kelly Broadus, who's going to be on this week.
It'd be interesting to ask her opinion of what's going to happen to that.
Yeah, what happens? Is that a boon? Is it like now I can have a bed and breakfast and you can walk
if the
across the street to the casino?
The nation has the money to pay what they did for that land and then build a casino on it, I would suggest they should take some money and purchase at least those homes whose land, physically contacts the casino land.
Buy it out.
Buy them out at market value, or maybe even market value plus 10% or something. And give them an escape.
Yeah, because that's tough, because any casino I've ever seen, Rob, some are done really well. I think out there at Twin Arrows, it's, it's a big place.
Yeah.
And it's done well. It's a nice place.
It is.
But it's also a big place. It's like having a mall in your
backyard.
Door. Now, I don't think they can go that big because it's 14 acres, but they could build high.
Mm-hmm.
And plus my instinct would tell me they don't want to scavenge the business, because you got one right there. But then again, there's 100,000 people in the Flagstaff area that it's a quick 5-minute drive, or less to head on out there.
They'll have a shuttle service from downtown, I would guess.
Probably multiple places, right? I mean, so what does that look like for the surrounding neighborhoods? But here's the bigger question is, how is this? Look, I don't begrudge them for doing this to make money and to do well. They're following the law.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, I would try to do the same thing, but I would try to blend in. I'm not saying I want a casino there. Don't get me wrong, because I really don't. I don't think this is good.
Yeah.
I don't think casinos are good overall for society.
No.
Do I begrudge you if you go to it? Have I been to a casino? Yeah, I've been to a casino. Rob's.
I have better things to do with my money than give it away to a casino.
Exactly. It can have definitely a dark underside and a negative side, especially right next to it. It can attract a lot of bad things too.
Sure.
I mean, it can attract fun, but it's like what stays in north of Flagstaff, it's like the Vegas thing, what stays in Vegas.
Yeah.
A little concerned about this. Is it going to be just a little place maybe where, hey, we got a couple tables, a couple slots, but you got to make these things a industry of scale, or else they're
saying over 100 employees. So
yeah, this is not going to be small.
No,
I mean, it would have to be. You can't just putting up. You've built timberline. You've built homes. I mean, I've built. It's building something real small. It's not. It's so much effort.
The cost per square foot goes way up.
Exactly. So
versus a larger facility.
They're going to have it's 100 employees. It's going to be a sizable operation there. What's the community input? And that's what I would ask, and I hope to speak with somebody from Navajo Nation. What's the input here? Because there wasn't input initially, and we were kind of told, hey, this ain't happening. And sure enough, we knew. I mean, come on.
Everybody pretty
much.
And
do we change this? Should the law be changed where it's maybe a little closer? Like, hey, or it has to be, what's the word, contiguous, where you annex something, or it has to be within a couple miles, because really, I mean, this could get out of hand if you think about it.
Or should the existing zoning codes still apply, even if they convert it into trust land?
Yeah.
Or there's lots of ors, but
if it's more like an island, like this situation.
Yeah. The more important thing here, I think, is the Navajo Nation has an opportunity here to do the right thing by holding some press conferences, by filling in some people on the details, by sharing what's really going to happen and how they're going to mitigate the impacts on their local neighbors. And I think they have an obligation to do that. I hope they do.
Yeah.
It'd be great if they did.
It is going to be interesting. The times they are changing. To steal a line from Bob Dylan, and Flagstaff is definitely changing in a big way.
Yep.
Small city.
Our second casino.
There's like 100,000 people around. I mean, I-40 is a big thing too, but it's interesting. All right, love to hear from you. What do you think about a casino just north of Flagstaff? Now, Prescott's had this for a long time, because right there, as you're coming up the hill and then going down,
on the valley.
Yeah, I mean, it's right there. It's right in the middle of Prescott Valley. I can't remember the name of it. I've been there, a long time ago. I don't really go to casinos much anymore.
No.
Maybe we will be.
No excuse not to now, right? It's right in your backyard.
Pretty much every direction you drive, right?
Yeah.
All right. Kim Dawson at Nova Home Loans. I'm looking forward to having her on the program. I'm trying to do with everybody a post. Since Trump is becoming president, what does it look like?
Yeah.
And her industry is a big one right there.
Oh, sure.
So if you're selling your home right now, if you're buying a home right now, if you're selling your home, you got to buy a new one and you need financing. Kim Dawson at Nova Home Loans can help you out. More importantly, if you're a first-time home buyer, there's a lot of programs. You remember when you were a first-time home buyer?
Oh, yeah. It's scary.
It's tough. She'll walk you through the whole process. Lots of great programs she can help you out with. She also does home equity lines. Sadly, the thing that a lot of people need nowadays is like the credit consolidation. So you own your home and maybe you have a lot of equity there, which in the past couple of years has gone up a lot, most likely. You can consolidate all that and you can try to get your payments under control because the credit
interest rate way down compared to what you'd be paying.
Those credit card fees really didn't go down much when the rates started going down. Anyway, call Kim Dawson at Nova Home Loans. She can help you out. Mention the Jeff Orvich Show. Get $250 off the lender's fee at closing. I think Angela's visiting Kim right now, actually picking up a Thanksgiving pie. She's so nice. Kim Dawson is an awesome person. Anyway, call her up, 928-310-6458. That's 928-310-6458, or go to novahomeloans.com/Kim Dawson. Kim Dawson, NLS 697-411, Nova Home Loans, NLS 3087, BK number 090242. Equal housing opportunities, subject to credit approval. Terms and conditions may apply. They need to doge that.
Now we
need the Department of Government Efficiency to get rid of
all that.
There's no need for this anymore. Come on.
Nobody listens to it. Nobody can understand
Everybody can look it up. We all have internet access. If you really want to look up, what's Kim Dawson's NMLS number?
and the fine print on the ads, both political and otherwise, that's too small to read.
The warning on your pillows. Let's get rid of it all. Let's get rid of it all. Can we live in a world where we do this? Now, I personally think, Rob, and I'd be fine with helping whoever wants to head this up. I don't want to head it up because maybe I'm getting a little lazier after every year that goes by, right, Rob? But we need an Arizona Department of Government Efficiency. Every state should have this. This should be the new cool thing. It's cutting government, not adding to it.
Municipality, every city, county, and state government ought to take the hint here. There's opportunity for improvement.
There is. Okay. On a gun issue here, and this is right up your alley as well. I'm an Arizona independent, Daily Independence, independent newspaper online. Sedona firearms law to be updated, quote unquote, after lawmakers request review. It was Representative Quan Nguyen and Representative Selena Bliss, both out of the Prescott area. And I know Quan, he's a really good guy, but I need to hook you guys up. He is a super duper, super strong supporter of the Second Amendment, like big time. And his family history, they came over from Vietnam.
Right.
An awesome story there. And he's done a phenomenal job of upholding and strengthening the Second Amendment. And he did this in the city of Sedona. Briefly, they had something on the books.
Yeah, that prohibited you from carrying firearms in Sedona public property, places like trails and parks and things like that, which violated clearly. Now, apparently Sedona has now agreed, and the law has been in place for several years, but it violated a non-preemption law from the state of Arizona. So the state of Arizona, when they see things at local levels that are going to create conflict statewide because of confusion about what's legal here and there and otherwise, or that they feel that just the state should be making laws about, they'll pass a law that says, hey, the state makes laws regarding firearms. Individual municipalities cannot, because if they all started doing that, who would know what's legal where? There'd be no way to keep track. Yeah. You'd have no idea if you're a felon or not, depending on what city border you may or may not have just crossed.
Yeah, you got to check your gun when you go into the town, like the old Western movie.
Check in with the sheriff, drop off your gun.
Well, let's do it. The drinking age is, 21 here and it's 18 there, and it's right. It's just. I don't like a lot of laws, but we should have consistent laws.
So attaboy to both of them for doing that, for calling out the city, saying, hey, you're violating state law by having this individual law that just the city of Sedona passed, and you need to revisit that. And apparently they've agreed to do that. That's good. Basically, they're just going to have to make it go away. There isn't any scale it down.
Yeah.
And the thing about those kinds of laws, they're just like the gun-free zones that we passed the laws for schools and things like that. So you can put a sign out in front of a park or a school or a city building and say, this is a gun-free zone. And the people that are intent on doing evil are going to ignore that sign just as much as they're going to ignore the consequences of committing murder, which is what they're getting ready to go do.
Yeah.
That sign means absolutely nothing to them.
Yeah. You're impacting law-abiding citizens.
Exactly. That's the only people you're impacting. And it's what's wrong with those kinds of laws. They sound good when somebody, pushes it through. We're doing something to try to help. In reality, you're not doing anything to help at all. And oftentimes in the gun-free zones, what you're doing is you're making it even easier for the evil people to be evil because they know they don't have any consequences. The likelihood of their success is greater if there's not going to be anybody to challenge them.
Well, it's kind of like that county treasurer that got busted copped up to being guilty for $34 million or whatever that they embezzled over 10 years. The IRS also got him on like tax evasion and all that on the money they stole.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, criminals aren't going to report to the IRS that, hey, here's my tax version of, here's my tax portion of the money I stole.
You know who else is famous for doing that? Whose last name is Biden? Hunter.
Oh, Hunter. I thought you were going to say Al Capone.
No, Hunter Biden, who was doing the same thing. He was getting all kinds of income, not reporting it to the IRS.
Yeah.
And that's what he's supposed to be sentenced for next month.
Oh, is that next month?
Yep.
And when we come back, let's hit on the Trump, all of this crap that's going on with Jack Smith, update on that and much more. So stick around. Talk with Jeff at iCloud.com. Always love hearing from you. Let's see. Route 66 Coin and Collectibles. My go-to place when it comes to buying physical gold and silver. I'm big on silver right now, actually. But you should talk to them about gold and silver. I'm big on gold and silver. I've been doing this for a long time, probably 25 years. Those same guys. I don't know if you know these guys, but the great group of guys there at Route 66 Coin and Collectibles. And they were giving me advice many, many years ago. And then now we've come back together and I'm able to offer you, and they are, because I don't do anything. They have to shop, right? I just tell you this is where I'm going, because it is, and because they have a brick and mortar location right in Flagstaff, right on East Route 66.
It's not just some website or phone call or something. You can sit down and talk to them face to face.
Yep, and it's really cool. So, but if you are outside the area, because they actually deliver all over the country, and I hear from people all the time that I've ordered from some of your sponsors, even though I'm out of state. They have a national price guarantee. In fact, right now, silver bullion, coins, and bars guaranteed at $1 per ounce less than any competitor.
Wow.
Good deal. Good deal. And they'll ship it to you. They get it to you. They'll talk with you. You can call them right now, 928-527-0047. That's 928-527-0047. That's Route 66, Coin and Collectibles. Back in a minute. All right, welcome back here with Rob Wilson. Where's the time going? It's slipping so quick. Slipping past. Okay, so Jack Smith's done with this thing? Just like that? I thought Trump was going to... Remember when they were like... What's going to happen during the election if Trump's in jail? Or what if he's in election while he's in jail while he's president? Remember all that talk? What happened to all that? It's all gone.
It's interesting too. I was listening to MSNBC on the way over here this afternoon. I listened to all of them. I listened to NPR, MSNBC, all the.
You have a level of patience most people don't have, Rob.
Well, it's supposed to be entertainment, right? It's entertaining.
Yeah, it is.
Here's their theory. He's quitting now because when President Trump gets in office, he's going to weaponize the Justice Department and investigate Jack Smith if Jack Smith is still charging him. So what they're trying. The irony to me is what they have been doing to President Trump for the last 4 years. They're accusing him of wanting to do to them when he gets in office, which I seriously doubt he's going to do. He's going to be too busy doing positive things. He's not going to be seeking retribution, as much as that might be tempting.
So stupid.
It is.
And if he was really in the retribution mood, and I don't think Trump forgets people that do stuff like this to him.
Oh, no.
But he also doesn't have the time to go after.
He doesn't.
There's a mountain of people that have gone after him. It wouldn't matter if you quit 6 weeks before. He's still going to remember. I mean, come on.
It definitely doesn't. Like, his memory is
maybe the dude should move to Buenos Aires or something. I don't know.
And but I think what it really points out to me is that all of these charges that they were drumming up to try to charge him with in all these trials, all of that was really what we thought it was, and that is nothing but political.
Yeah. Because if it was real.
It was try to stop him from being able to win an election.
Yeah, because if it was real, you'd go after him. It wouldn't matter.
Yeah,
justice is blind kind of thing, right?
I heard somebody the other day say, "Hey, if he had been driving intoxicated and hit somebody and killed him, and that trial was currently ongoing, it would still be ongoing. Just because he won the election wouldn't have changed that.
It doesn't change it.
The fact that all of these changed shows, number one, that it was really all political, which is what we suspected. But I think even more importantly, what it shows to me is that the American citizen, the citizens of his country, were smart enough to recognize that and didn't let it affect their votes. They tried to do something that was underhanded, that was wrong. They were using the Justice Department to try to affect a political outcome, and we saw through it. And they lost.
Yeah.
And I think that's props to the citizens of the United States of America for having the common sense to look at that, make that conclusion, and vote the way that they did.
Yeah, no, it's really good, and we can move on, hopefully, and all this stuff goes away. Finally. So what about governors? What do you think here in Arizona? You've got Katie Hobbs, who is under a lot of pressure from even her own flank. I'm seeing, possibly, what's his name? The Attorney General, Fontes.
Yep,
is saying, I'm sorry, Secretary of State Fontes is saying that he may challenge her, or at least that's the rumors. I don't think he's saying it, to be fair, but whenever you hear the rumors, they're usually started from the person the rumors are about in politics. He
sends somebody out to drop that bomb and see how it lands.
Test the water. Test the water.
See what happens.
It's kind of like when the politician comes or somebody says, I'm thinking about maybe running for office, or, somebody of my friends said I should look into this. It's like, come on, this is
forming an exploratory committee.
This is generally in your head. Yeah. I've been around these people too long, Rob. We need Thanksgiving to come quicker. Yeah. But what do you think about what efforts are going to be made here in Arizona? I mean, obviously you got the blue states where the governors, the far left governors, are going to put up every obstruction to President Trump.
I'm looking forward to that.
It's going to be interesting to watch.
I think that's going to, because, you look at California, for instance, right now, that state to the left of us.
More ways than one.
We're seeing, decision after decision being made by their elected officials that really, really hurt their country or their state.
Yeah.
That are proving not to be successful, not to work. And now they're doubling down on that. And at the same time that, other states are going to start doing some of the deportation, things like that. So there's going to be masses of people going to the states like Massachusetts and California that are saying they're sanctuary places. They're going to be overwhelmed with demand that they just can't meet. And eventually they're going to have to admit it. So I think this is just a continuation of this long, drawn-out process of them making bad decisions and proving to us how bad they are.
Yeah, I would say, I said this last week, I think that Trump should deport the illegals to California.
There you go.
Right? They want them. Let's see how it is when you got 10 million more.
Yeah. You want free plane tickets? They all land at LAX.
Yeah. I mean, we could even cheap it up a little bit and do like a bus.
Yeah. Well, he did just buy that new $9 million home, Governor Newsom. Last week he bought
I saw that and I was looking into that because whenever I see a politician buy something like that, I'm like, have they ever done anything else? And I guess he did have businesses prior.
Yeah.
I don't know to what level. But you see somebody like, and I saw somebody saying they wanted to investigate like Pelosi, who's San Francisco, by the way, and her guesstimated net worth of $200 million.
Yeah.
And just a public servant.
Yeah. She's making $170 a year.
$170,000 a year. How does that happen? That to me needs to be investigated. Just like when a treasurer in Arizona, embezzles $34 million. How does
the flags are there?
And I'm not saying Pelosi embezzled $34 million, but how's she worth $200 million? Well, insider information and all
her
that.
Her husband trading on the insider information.
Because you're privy to so much. You're not supposed to anymore.
No.
Or some kind of diluted down law that they did. So, but here's my question as we wrap it up here, though. And the governors, and more particularly shall we even call Arizona purple? I still have to, because we got Democrat governor, we got Democrat attorney general, Democrat secretary of state.
Senator.
2 Democrat senators, although we've got majority Republican representation in Congress, and we've got expanded the House and the Senate and the legislature. It's a purplish state. Let's be real with it. But how does a governor like Hobbs, what does she throw up to President Trump being in a weak position in a state that voted for Trump.
I think she's in a really tough position right now. It's one that's she created for herself. I don't know how she can come out of this even thinking she's going to win a second term, because she's in a no-win situation now.
I hear names floating around. Like I said, Fontes on the Democrat side. I think she's going to have people on her own side challenging her. I've been speculating about Republican people running. There's talk about Charlie Kirk now, who's a talk show host. I'm sure you've heard of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Young guy. I mean, he's in his 30s. In his early 30s, I would imagine.
Yeah. Well, JD Vance is
not
much. I mean,
that's fine. I'd like to talk to him about that. Never met the guy. I keep hearing there's the girl that ran against Carrie Lake in the primary that I can't remember her name right now. Her husband was the builder in the state. So there's names being bantied around.
It'll be an interesting.
It'll be interesting, yeah. So
the cycle's starting all over again. Just when you thought the election cycle was over, it's starting all over again now.
Yeah, all right.
In the background.
I know you're heading out soon, and obviously Thanksgiving coming up, and I've been telling people to head on over to you for Christmas presents. I hope they're showing up. You got to show up, support our
speaking
indoor
of Christmas
range
and Timberline. December 13th, Friday the 13th, from 4 to 6 p.m.
Tell me you got Santa.
Santa Claus.
On Friday the 13th?
On Friday the 13th, Santa Claus will be at Timberline and happy to pose for pictures with you, your family, your pets. If you decide you'd like to have a firearm in it, that's fine too.
Oh,
so
that's
welcome
good.
to come
Where else
out.
can you do that? You're not going
it's free.
Oh, it's free. Yeah,
it's free. And then you can sign up for the CCW class the next day, Saturday the 14th. We got openings there. I teach that class. It's always it's a lot of fun. Everybody really enjoys that.
I need to do that. How long is that class?
It's 8 hours. We take it seriously.
That's probably why I haven't done it. It's just like it's a commitment. Well, yeah, I can barely do a 2-hour show here, Rob. I actually will maybe come out for Santa. Let me get back to you on that.
Yeah,
because that's Friday the 13th, and I know that
2 to 4 p.m.
my son Owen has some training stuff Saturday for Taekwondo at Maximum Martial Arts. That's another great. They're not sponsored, but they're just cool people. Great job there. So maybe I'll come out and we'll get a picture with Santa. I haven't done that in a while.
We can all pose with him.
We can all pose with Santa, and don't forget good gift ideas out there for your loved ones. I always appreciate when Angela. I think last year we went a little crazy with you guys because we got the
safe,
the safe, and
good purchase.
I think some firearms and Owen's been hunting, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know if I sent you any pictures, but did I forget to send you? He got his first duck.
Oh, awesome.
He got his first duck, and that's the gun he got with you, the 20 gauge.
Yep.
So got his first duck, successful. They've been light this year though. Last year when we were hunting, there's a lot more. So he's gotten really good, and my confidence in him, because he's had so much experience now.
Yeah.
And he's been through it so much. I feel so much better than just like 2 years ago when we first started this, and I was like,
he's learning to do it the safe way.
And every time he gets it, it's the gun's loaded. He's clearing the chamber, checking, even though he knows he just set it down 5 minutes. So he learned that from you.
Yep.
And I think that the younger you can get them to do that, because we didn't get to that article on some deaths by gun in the state. Next time we'll hit on that.
Yep.
But the younger you can train your youngsters on this, when they go to somebody's house or something, they're safe, because they understand that
they treat them with the respect.
They treat them with respect.
Yep.
Yeah. So, all right, Rob, happy Thanksgiving to you.
Thank you. And to you and all your listeners.
Yeah. Maybe we'll catch up here again in a week or two as well.
Excellent.
All right. Love to hear from you. Talk with Jeff at iCloud.com. Go ahead and send in your comments. Talk with Jeff at iCloud.com. I want to remind you about another great one of our sponsors here, and that's my good friends at Gettles High Desert Mechanical. If you need to get your HVAC system serviced, they are the ones to go to. They handle HVAC systems throughout central and northern Arizona. Awesome multi-generational company. They also have a service where you can get, it's $99 a year, and then you're there. You've got an annual inspection, and then when you need service, you got priority service. I have this for rental properties and for my home. So yeah, it's a cool thing. So call them up right now. Gettles High Desert Mechanical, no matter where you're at in central and northern Arizona, 928-567-2200. That's 928-567-2200, or go to Gettles, GOETTLS, GettlesHDM.com. Thanks for watching this video. Thank you to everyone listening on the podcast as well. Do me a favor right now. Please subscribe. I appreciate everybody that's doing it. Subscribe, and share with your friends. If you've already done that, leave a comment. That helps us out a lot, and we'll see you back here real soon.